Websites separate the amateurs from the people that are actually professionals. When people are on a website, they're not there for very long and they're not going to be reading everything word for word. They skim. And so you have to make sure your website is very skimmable. So often I hear people saying that they're trying to get everything to be perfect on the website before they launch. When a potential client lands on your brand, your website, you want them to feel like I am in the right place. And so
Welcome to the Fuel Your Flow podcast. I am your host, Valerie Feghali, physical therapist turned software CEO and business coach for health and wellness coaches. We are going to be talking about all things health and business. They might be more closely related than you think. So let's go ahead and get into it. Promise, thank you so much for being here. I have to tell you, one of the first things when I saw you, I was like, I gotta learn her hair secrets. You have the most beautiful hair in the world. I don't think anyone could ever ignore it. So before we get started, can you just tell us how you do your hair?
Yeah, I love it. I have really?
Yeah, I'm serious. Yep.
I have really thick hair naturally. So I use like a lot of oil and serum and stuff to tame the frizzies, but
wow.
And I have a good curling iron that I like a lot.
Yeah,
wrapping it around.
It's
called Bionic.
Okay,
Bionic.
All right.
It gets really hot.
Okay, so now we know your secrets behind that.
You.
Okay, so as far as websites go, a lot of coaches now are trying to run their business pretty much on YouTube and Instagram and not necessarily building out a real website. Can you tell us why websites are still so important to house their business?
Yeah. Websites separate the amateurs from the people that are actually professionals. There's a lot of reasons actually that a website is really helpful, but another reason is sometimes people can get lost on a social media page or a YouTube page and get distracted with all kinds of info and not really understand the extents or all the offerings that particular health coach offers. So a website, you're able to tailor and really drive the copy so that it makes sense for the viewer, and you can help them understand exactly all that you offer in a very streamlined and succinct way.
So for a coach, what would you, specifically in the health or fitness area, what would you recommend are kind of the sections that they need to have built out on their websites?
Yeah. Well, you want to focus on your offerings. I think so many people want to have everything on their website because they want their users to be able to find anything they want on the website. But the most important thing is you have to decide what you want people to find on the website, and you have to decide where you want people to spend their time when they're on your website. So you really need to figure out what are your offerings, make it very simple. Don't have 12 navigation tabs at the top, have 6. Keep it very minimal, and highlight the 2 or 3 in which you want people to spend their time on in terms of what you offer. Yeah. And then I would say another big differentiator on your website is to highlight your personality. So you want to make sure that you're standing out for who you are and you're attracting that right audience. So having an about page, talking about who you are and what makes you different, and also the aesthetic. So you want to attract your ideal audience, but you also want to showcase your own personality so that you stand out from other fitness coaches, other professionals in the industry. So you want to have your about page, you want to have your few offerings, and then you want to make sure that you are highlighting what I call a call to action, CTA. And so what do you want people to do in terms of your journey and the experience you want your clients to have? How do you want them to contact you? How do you want that journey to get started with you? Maybe it's a call, maybe it's an inquiry form. And so you want to make that very clear for each offering that you have.
Okay. And as far as booking a call or subscribing to a newsletter, collecting a freebie, what are some different ways that you do that? Do you do it via a pop-up, or do you have it on a particular page? Like, what are some of the best ways to lay that out for people so that it's easy to find and then it's front-facing?
Yeah, I would say it all depends. It all depends on what you're offering at the time. Sometimes people have different launches that they're focusing on, so sometimes that might ebb and flow on a website, which also I think is really important to know, because your website should be living and breathing. It should be changing as your business changes, even seasonally. Sometimes you're going to be marketing a certain product because you're in a launch, and so you're going to want to highlight with pop-ups or something in the footer or something at the top, a banner at the top, and an announcement bar or something like that. Other times, you're going to want to highlight your products or your services or your email newsletter. I would say first you want to know if somebody, like if you were in a business relationship and you were like, I want to take it to the next level, that would be an email opt-in. So someone can opt in with a freebie or something that they're going to find valuable. And then secondary, if the person wants to take it to the next level and actually work with you, then that would be more of your offerings, your CTA to actually work with you, join your course, join your membership.
I love that you said it's a living, breathing thing, because I think that a lot of people, including myself, it's kind of like set it and forget it.
Yes.
And then years later, I go back and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so outdated. And so how important is it that they're on a platform such as Squarespace, because I know you work with Squarespace, that they're on a platform that they can make adjustments to? Because I know a lot of people, they're paying these high prices to have like an HTML website built out, or they're working on something like WordPress, which it can be a little bit complicated to use, and then they can't make the edits that they want.
Yes. So often I hear people saying that they're trying to get everything to be perfect on the website before they launch. And this is the whole reason I have my company called GoLive, is because we actually want to go live with people's websites and get it up and active, because you're going to be learning as you go. And you're going to be learning your ideal audience. You're going to be learning your offerings better. And you're always going to be tweaking that so you can get a better conversion rate, so you can serve your clients better. And so it is very, very important these days to have a website that you can edit and update on your own, so you can turn the ship quickly, so you can be light on your feet and make those adjustments quickly and really meet your customer where they're at. So that is my number one most important thing, is that you can edit and update your website, which is why I chose Squarespace, because it's so easy. We've done, my company's done all the different platforms, Webflow, Showit, WordPress, and we landed on Squarespace because it gives us that creative freedom, but then also it's so easy to edit and update.
It's user friendly.
Yes.
Okay. So aside from kind of the colors and the fonts, how else do you get branding across? And talk to us a little bit. What is branding and how do you get that across on a website?
Yeah. So branding, there's a lot of different elements, but one of them is the visual elements. So it's the logo, it's the fonts, it's the colors, it's the feel of when someone lands on your brand, whether it's on social media, whether it's on your website and your products, that they have a feeling inside. And a lot of times when I'm helping our clients decide what the visual should look like, we want to think about, how do you want your clients to feel after they've worked with you? What kind of emotions do you want them to feel? And then we look at the colors associated with that. We look at the fonts associated with those feelings, and that helps us drive the direction of the visual brand. Because ultimately, when a potential client lands on your brand, your website, you want them to feel like, I am in the right place. And so you first have to know, who is your ideal audience? Because everyone likes different things. Everyone's attracted to different things. So knowing your ideal audience is very, very important. So that's number one. And then number two is, I would say, as a personal brand, as you're building out and differentiating yourself, is to have parts of your personality in your brand, because that's what's going to stand out and make you different, because there is no one else like you. So you want to highlight that too. So I would say in terms of visual branding, it's like a marriage between your ideal client's preferences and also your own personal brand, and kind of marrying those two, obviously with your niche and all of that.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think that makes it sustainable for the coach or the business to continue on in an authentic way, because I think a lot of people, they try to be more professional, or they try to look a certain way when they're starting their business, and it's not necessarily them, right? They're almost trying to shift their personality to match what they think is a professional personality, right? Whereas if they just kind of be themselves and let that weird quirkiness show a little bit, that's something that can be sustained in the long term.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people are tired of Pinterest perfect looks and perfectly, professional stuff. So if you can be yourself and let that shine, even in your visual branding, I think that's really powerful.
How important do you feel having some sort of brand shoot, some sort of professional photography of yourself is to have on your website? Or do you think that people can use, pictures from their iPhone, or even just stock photography that they've taken from Canva or somewhere else?
Yeah, great question. So I would say, if it's preventing you from launching, then use what you can and get it up and live, but have it in the plan to get together an actual photo shoot of you and your environment, and the environment that your customers or clients might see as when they're working with you, because that's what's going to make you different and make you stand out from other coaches, and it really brings that personality to life and makes it very personal. So I would say that personal photo shoot is really important to have in the plans, for sure.
So I just want to highlight what you said about if it's preventing you from going live or it's just launching your website or your product or your service, don't bother, right? In the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important for coaches to hear, because a lot of the coaches I work with, they're trying to perfect everything, their course, their, website, their content on their actual course or whatever it may be. And it's stopping them from making the move. And honestly, I think it's just procrastination because they're afraid of putting themselves out there. But like you said, if it's preventing you, anything that's preventing you from starting, put it on the back burner. You will get to it. Make that list and start checking it off once you're already rolling.
Yeah. And again, your website is going to be living and breathing, so you're always going to be able to edit it. Once you publish it, it's not like, I can't touch it anymore. You can keep editing and revising as you go. Yeah. We, my team and I did a big relaunch of our website, and we have so many pages on the website. And we had this long checklist of everything we need to do before launch. And we looked through each one of those because we're like, this isn't going to be until in a month before we get this thing launched. And we went through each checkpoint and we're like, do we really need this before launch? No. Do we really need this before launch? No. We went through everything. We went through the entire list. We decided none of it. We don't need it to launch. So we just launched it.
Yes.
And then we started adding as it was live and launched because you can do that.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So as far as refining as you go along, are there any tools that you have that you use to say, okay, this part of the website is doing well, people are staying, people are reading? Like, do you use Hotjar or any other tools to do that?
Yes, I love Hotjar.
Okay.
Hotjar is a tool in which it will actually track where people are at on the page, where the mouse is. It'll show you what people are viewing where, and that really will give you an idea of what people are missing on your website, where people are spending their time and what people are clicking on. So that's really helpful in terms of knowing people's interactions and stuff on your website. So you can really change a lot based on that. Yeah, I love that. It's a great tool.
Looking at the data.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
As far as storytelling, do you try to map out a bit of a story on your website, or do you save that more for sales pages? And what's the difference between the two?
Great question. I love the term story because it can mean so many things to so many people. I think sometimes when people hear the word story, they think, oh, I need to share the reason of why this little bird with this nest. And, it's like this whole story about how they started their business with, and it's like, that can be important, but you have to remember when people are on a website, they're not there for very long and they're not going to be reading everything word for word. They skim. And so you have to make sure your website is very skimmable and very easily digestible. And so quicker is better. So simple is best. And so in terms of the storytelling, you want to figure out what are people's pain points? How are you credible in helping them work through that pain point? And then what is the transformation on the other side? So, and I would say that is the strongest story when you make it about the customer, not necessarily about like how you started your business and all the whys and how comes. So I would say that's a great tip for the storytelling is keep it about the customer if you can, but you want to expand on what makes you credible for sharing. A lot of times it's your story that makes you credible in order to help them. But in terms of the website, you want to make sure that that you're leading your potential client through a journey. And that journey is ultimately going to lead them to realize, oh, they really need your help and you can help them. So you want to lay that out, and that's different for everybody, but you want to make sure it's really scannable. You have really catchy headlines that are going to help people understand what the content is when it's scannable. And then you want to make sure you have some great CTAs that are going to help them take the next step. So they're going to know exactly what to do in order to work with you, in order to take that next step. You don't want people to get lost on the website.
Okay. How can you help people, so people who are coming to their website, self-identify with whether or not their offer really matches with what they need, matching up with their desires from an emotional standpoint? So talking about like not just their pain point as in like, they've been trying to lose 5 pounds for 10 years and it's not working, but like what that 5 pounds means for them. Like,
I like that.
If they're really if the person is working with somebody who works with women in menopause over 50 and that they're showing at their career-driven woman to say like, talking about how presenting in front of their colleagues and standing up in front of people when their clothes is tight and shifty and it doesn't fit right, like what that actually means for that person.
Yeah, so you're saying more like the long-term, it's not like a short-term benefit, it's a long-term benefit.
Yeah, and like how you're showing that, how you're describing that on a sales page in simplest terms so that it's not this huge long A lot of my...
Can I ask you, how do we turn that around? I want you to talk about that.
Okay, I can talk. All right. So what I see a lot of my clients dealing with on their sales pages is they have these long blocks of text, and it's this thing that they expect people to read through, and it might have some really good, meaningful content in there. They're describing, their clients' pain points. They're describing what it would feel like on the other side after working with them, and they're going through all that, but it's in this like huge block of text, right? And so what I'm wondering from you is, how do they lay it out from a design perspective on the page that it is digestible, it is eye-catching, that the person on the page is actually able to skim through and really understand that the product is what they need? Yeah.
People don't read paragraphs and paragraphs of copy. It's too much, and they don't have much time, so they're just scanning it and skimming it. So you want to figure out, how can you break things up in digestible pieces throughout the website. So, and that layout is going to look different with each different type of content, but the layout is key, and you want to keep it interactive, buttons to push, things animated, just to keep people's interest as well. And again, keeping it more simple is best to keep people's attention, because you only have a couple of minutes to explain your story.
So when we incorporate some like moving parts or some pictures throughout the text, or bold or italicized, right, that helps people really skim and read through kind of the important aspects of the story, right?
Yes.
Right. What are some creative ways that coaches can build trust and loyalty in their brand using their websites?
I mean, talking about your credibility, what makes you credible in terms of what you offer your clients and customers. I would say, if you have any notable like places that you've spoken, or podcasts that you've been on, or any logos, usually that kind of credibility right off the bat in the header area of the website is very important in terms of showing credibility.
How about for the coach that doesn't have that? Maybe they haven't really been on a lot of podcasts lately. Maybe they haven't been publicized yet. And maybe even they just got their first credential. What are some ways that coaches can really show that they know what they're talking about, they know how to help their client, and they understand and can empathize with their client?
Yeah, I would say sharing your own personal story is really impactful. When you are the guide and showing that you've been there before, it really helps people build that trust with you. And then I would also say, showing videos, showing yourself, showing your photos. When people get to see that eye-to-eye contact, and they realize, oh, there's a really person on the other side of the screen who's been where I've been. I feel like that's really important. And also just incorporating videos. I don't think it needs to be high quality these days. Sometimes an iPhone video, or like my team loves Video Ask at the very bottom of the website. That type of widget just shows that like personality and the personal connection.
I do feel that's so important, because now when we look at a page, we don't know, who's creating this? Is this like a team? Is this AI? Like, who am I actually going to be speaking to, connecting with, working with when I sign up for this service or this product? And so having, that image of you, that video of you, I think video content now is more powerful than ever, because again, we don't know who wrote the text. It could be a bot, right? Whereas when you're speaking to the camera, they know that's direct from you. So adding that video on. Do you ever have people put videos on their about pages?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, sharing the journey. Even just giving them a little message. Yeah, for sure.
And how about on their sales pages too? Like, where would be a good placement for that? Are you having that further down on the page, or is it like first thing they see? Where would be a good place for a video kind of explaining their product and their services?
I mean, I would say near the top.
Okay.
If that works out for your product or service and what you're offering, I am way more likely to click a video than read a whole sales page personally.
Instead of on 2-point speed, and then you're done.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, everything that's on the page.
And it's like low effort for someone to click a play button, rather than you're scrolling. You're actually actively doing something when you're scrolling down the page and consuming content, whereas a video you can just play and hear the person's voice, see this person's face, and get to understand their story and where they've been.
And on a platform like Squarespace, because I think a lot of people, they don't want people to leave the website, right, and go to like a YouTube video or something of that nature, but you can just embed it right on the page, correct?
You can embed a pop-up. There's a lot of different ways that you can utilize video in Squarespace.
So they're still on the page, they haven't left the page, they're still able to scroll down to that, buy now or book a call button, but they get that personal touch from you. I love that.
Yeah.
If a coach is feeling overwhelmed getting their website out there, what are just like 2 or 3 things that you would say at the bare minimum, have this on your page?
Yeah. I mean, understand your services, get those services up there. I would say change the photos if you can, so make it more of a personal feel in terms of it being actually your website and not just a template that doesn't have anything to do with you. So your photos, get your offerings up there and get your call to action. I would say in terms of style, like fonts and colors, that can always change later. I mean, because it's not likely that everyone's going to see the very same template being used. I would say the photos and your offerings for sure.
Okay. How important do you feel SEO is for a website? Should we be focused on that in the beginning, or is that, again, something that later down the line should be something that we think about?
Yeah. Great question. SEO is always changing. And I think sometimes people get stuck on it and they feel like they have to get it perfect. But a lot of times when you're utilizing keywords, so keywords in terms of like, what are people actually going to type into Google? So let's talk about what SEO is. It's search engine optimization. And so what are people actually typing into Google? What are those words that people are typing into Google or a search engine to find you? Those are going to be your keywords. So you want to think about what makes you different. Also, what do you think people are going to be typing in? And then you want to utilize those words on your website. But I would say you don't need to be obsessed with it because it should naturally flow in terms of the content on your website. You don't want to get too robotic about it and not feel like it's like a real person speaking or not feel like it's natural. But you'll naturally get it if you are focused on your ideal client and you're focused on what makes you different and then also how you're helping your potential client. All those words are going to naturally be in there. So I would say, I would not say that's something to worry about or overthink in terms of your launch. Like just get your website up and launch, and then that's something you can always work on and always improve over time.
And with those keywords and also just things that you want to highlight on your page, I think a lot of people get nervous. They're like, I said it once, it's on there. Can you speak to that a little bit? Like, how should we be repeating ourselves, kind of saying the same thing in different ways throughout the page?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah. Well, again, people don't read everything word for word. They skim it. And so you definitely want to utilize repeating just so you can make your point across. And if someone is skipping the page or skimming the page, then they might miss it. And so, repeating and then also just saying the same thing in different ways sometimes is helpful to really drive home a point. And then also, I think one thing that's really helpful is to really look at when people inquire with you, when they ask you questions, what's the lingo and the language that they're using? Because you can reuse that on your website to really speak your audience's language. So that's a really important tool.
Yes. I think a lot of our coaches, they want to show that they're intelligent on the page. So they're trying to use this medical terminology or, words that they learned in their coaching certification, where that's not going to land with their clients. Their clients are going to take one look at that and be like, I don't get hormone health issues. Like, what does that even mean? Right. Could be as simple as that. It's like, you have to explain even the basic concepts, right? And talk about it in a way that their client is going to say directly to them. So how would you recommend people get that language? Are they surveying their clients? Like where are they pulling that from?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different places on social media in terms of like, what are some other coaches or where are your clients hanging out that you could go and poke around at? What are they asking? How are they talking? They might be asking you DM questions, maybe on your social media, YouTube videos. Maybe there's some topics of conversation. You can look at the comments. I would say like the comments are usually the way to go because you're seeing real people ask real questions and then reply back. So I would say those are some great ways, but it might just be your inbox too, of people asking questions. Or maybe there's some friends that are chatting in a circle and they're asking those questions and talking about those topics.
So take directly from that. Right?
Swipe it.
Okay, perfect. So tell us a little bit more about your templates, where we can find that. And I know you created a special template for our audience today. So tell us a little bit about that.
So we're so excited about our Nourish template. And we have a special page in which we'll put the link in this description that has all of the info on where they can get the template and how that works. But our company is called GoLive, and you can find us at golivehq.co. And we create Squarespace templates. We're actually the #1 third-party Squarespace website template shop, which is really exciting, meaning that we sell the most Squarespace website templates. So we've been doing it for so long now, years and years. And I just love helping people have an affordable resource, they don't have to start from scratch and wonder what's going to go on this? How do I communicate to my audience? But they can utilize a framework, and especially partnering with someone like you, Valerie, and knowing like, how can we partner together to really put the content on the website? Because you have such a great experience with health coaches. And so you know what they need on the website. And then we have the, the website,
I love it.
Yeah, infrastructure to support that. And so that is a fun combination coming together.
Yes, the template is amazing. So I hope you guys all check it out. Thank you so much. Promise this has been great.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation from today. Any links we discussed will be in the show notes below. Also, we would be incredibly grateful if you would leave us a 5-star review. This helps us keep the podcast going so that we can continue to provide value for all of you. I hope we see you on the next one.